When I opened my eyes again, I had returned to the day my husband's first love came back from out of town, heavily pregnant. The first love, Leah Xiao, was a hopeless romantic. After falling in love online, she ran off to the man's city to chase after love. Little did she know that when she was 6 months pregnant, the man abandoned her, and she had to return home. Because our families lived close by, my mother-in-law had taken us to visit her home. Her mother, in front of us, in a fit of anger, was about to take action, saying she had two choices for her: either have an abortion or give the baby up for adoption. After giving birth, Leah Xiao knelt on the ground, on the verge of tears. "Mom, the baby is already 7 months old. In a few more months, it will be born. These are 2 lives we're talking about. I don't care. Why don't you make the child's father take responsibility? Did you come back home expecting me, a single mother, to raise it for you?" As for this close friend of my mother-in-law, since our families are in close contact, I know her all too well. Leah Xiao's mother, Aunt Liu, got divorced early on and raised her daughter alone. She often says I'm like another daughter to her. My soft-hearted husband, Ford Jen, can't bear to see Leah Xiao cry. He felt sorry for her and helped her up from the ground. "Leah, just admit your mistake and say something gentle. Your mother is just frustrated that you're not living up to your potential." He turned to look at me. "Aria Wu, Leah is a single mother and can't afford to raise 2 children. How about we take care of the baby once she gives birth?" In my previous life, I hesitated for only 2 seconds before nodding in agreement. The reason was that, after 4 years of marriage to Ford Jen, I had not been able to conceive, yet he never left my side and always defended me in front of his parents, put on a smiling face for me in front of relatives and friends. Takes better care of my parents than I do, bringing home bags of nutritional supplements during holidays and festivals. I long to have a baby with him. We are a loving couple, and not having a child is the only regret between us. Actually, my period has been delayed for a few days this month, but I just didn't think about that possibility. I agreed to adopt the child from his first love, until I was so exhausted by a pair of twins that I had a miscarriage. The doctor said I could never have my own children again. In my previous life, I didn't know that Leah Xiao's so-called online romance was actually with my dear husband. I believed the sweet talk from both their families and ended up ruining my entire life. In this life, as I look at the scene before me, I can't help but feel like laughing. Leah Xiao's mother, along with my mother-in-law and Ford Jen. The 3 of them must have already conspired on how to trick me into accepting these 2 children. They calculated well, making me the big fool, working hard for them, earning money to spend on their whole family. In my previous life, I couldn't see clearly, but in this life, they won't get the slightest advantage from me. "Ford, we're going to have our own child." Ford Jen widened his eyes, not making eye contact with me, and instead looked directly at Aunt Liu. Then turned to his mother and Leah Xiao. After exchanging glances, Ford Jen was momentarily stunned. Then came surprise, not delight. "Aria Wu, are you serious?" "Of course. Last night I dreamed I was holding a big carp, holding it in my arms. My mom said it's a pregnancy dream, meaning it's a boy." My mother-in-law wore a smile on her face, but it was clearly insincere. After being reborn, I've become much more clear-headed. Many previously unnoticed details are now all in plain sight. Clear at a glance. "Aria Wu, you believe there's a child just because of a dream. It can't be real." I knew they wouldn't want to admit it. If I really had a child, how could I accept the illegitimate child of my first love and Ford Jen? I can't understand. If he and Leah Xiao are in love, why did he have to ruin me? Also, in my previous life, I was perfectly fine. So why did I suddenly have a miscarriage after adopting the twins? Before that, my health had always been good. The reason I hadn't gotten pregnant was because I was too busy with work, and for the first 2 years of our marriage, I had been using contraception for career reasons. But when I wanted to have a baby with Ford Jen, I just couldn't get pregnant. "Mom, this is at least a good sign. Maybe Ford and I will have our own child soon. Since I have my own precious child, why should I raise someone else's, especially the illegitimate child of him and Leah Xiao?" Thinking of everything I went through in my past life, I feel like tearing apart these utterly hypocritical people in front of me. Isn't it? Isn't it because you haven't been able to conceive? Aria Wu, think carefully. Leah is really struggling on her own. What does her difficulty have to do with me? They started guilt-tripping me without even getting my consent. I'd like to see what other tricks they have up their sleeves. Okay, Ford Jen's face darkened. What do you mean? Are you unwilling to help Leah with this? Arya Wu, I never expected you to be like this. All these years you've been unable to conceive. How much have I shielded you in front of your parents, relatives, and friends? How can you be so unreasonable? Yes, Arya Wu, since you married into our Jen family. How have we treated you? Don't you know, now that Aunt Liu and Leah are facing such a difficult situation, what's wrong with lending a hand? Talking about adopting 2 children as if they were just a couple of cats or dogs. Help, of course I'll help. I'll have my media friends track down her boyfriend's workplace. As long as he has a formal job, he definitely won't want this to blow up. We have the upper hand here. Ford Jen was dumbfounded. The mother-in-law was left speechless, looking at Aunt Liu and Leah Xiao again. Their tearful faces had already turned beet red, their mouths were agape, unable to close. Perhaps none of the 3 of them had expected that I, usually so obedient, would suddenly become so sharp and come up with this method of counterattack. Also, how come I'm not even listening to Ford Jen's words anymore? Honey, Arya, how could you do this? My husband said anxiously. Ford, what did I do? I'm just trying to find a solution for Leah Xiao. Can you think of a more practical way than this? He was left speechless. How dare those with a guilty conscience leave any evidence for others to find? They just want me to obediently take the blame. I simply won't take the bait. After all, I'm not the one in a hurry. I'll just sit back, munch on some sunflower seeds, and enjoy the show. You can't. My mother-in-law was terrified that I might actually call my media contacts. Mom, can't what? You can't go looking for her boyfriend. I mean, you're in an unfamiliar place, and even if you go, you won't find him. Leah is about to give birth. And we need to focus on solving the immediate problem. I crossed my arms and looked at Ford Jen. Arya Wu, stop making a fuss. After all these years, you still haven't gotten pregnant. Adopting Leah's child would be perfect, wouldn't it? It would also save you from more suffering. He spoke with such sincerity. To get pregnant, I even went through IVF. How many injections have I endured? How much suffering have I gone through, only to be manipulated by them for a lifetime? Honey, if we were to have our own child, would you adopt Leah Xiao, or would you want our own child? I asked that on purpose, even though I knew the answer, but I still wanted to know. Perhaps this is just a woman's persistence in love. She's had a tough time, and we should lend a hand when we can. Arya Wu, I know you understand. Truly brought shame upon oneself. Knowing is one thing, but getting a definite answer finally made me give up hope. I'm tired, I want to go home. If I stay any longer, I'm afraid I won't be able to resist slapping him. Ford Jen noticed that I was in a bad mood. After all, having known each other for so many years, a single glance was enough to understand each other's thoughts. Alright, I'll take you back to get some proper rest. What about you? He looked at Leah Xiao. I need to go to the maternity store to buy some things for Leah that pregnant women need. Be good, okay? He keeps mentioning Leah, always putting her first. Anyone who didn't know better would think Leah Xiao is his wife. In the past, was I just foolish or blind? How could I have ignored such obvious signs? That night, Ford Jen came back very late, feeling the mattress sink in. His arm instinctively came over to hold me. Ever since I was reborn, the sight of this person has made me sick. When he touched me, I tried to suppress the discomfort in my heart and turned over without showing any sign of it. Arya, are you awake? Is everything arranged on Leah Xiao's end? Almost. Arya, Leah is pregnant and needs someone to care for her. Aunt Liu suggested I go over to keep her company more often. You don't mind, do you? I sneered inwardly. What does her child have to do with you? What do you mean by that? Leah and I grew up together. We're as close as siblings. You're not jealous of her, are you? Arya Wu, your behavior today is really disappointing me. After saying that, he turned his back to me and ignored me. I never realized before that every time we had a conflict, he would resort to the silent treatment and then accuse me of being unreasonable. He's really good at playing mind games. With the rose-tinted glasses of love gone, he's just an ordinary and overly sensitive man. I must have been blind back then. Those who are unfaithful shall swallow 10,000 needles. In my previous life, you took my wealth and lived a life of luxury, while my soul had long drifted away to who knows where. In this life, I will never let you have your way. Lying in bed, my thoughts drifted far away. When I was dating Ford Jen, my first love, Leah Xiao, was the third wheel between us. At that time, I was a sophomore, and Ford Jen was a senior, 1 year ahead of me. One day, my roommate told me that a photo of me studying in the library had been posted on the confession wall. Aria Wu, you've been confessed to by a senior, and it's Ford Jen, the guy so many girls admire, really. My roommate dragged me to the bulletin board. It was a photo of me lost in thought while reading a book, with a blurred background. In the picture, I looked scholarly, pure, and playful. The photo caused a sensation. My classmates found out my class, major, and dormitory that very night. Ford Jen stood outside my dormitory holding a bouquet of roses. My roommates gave me a beautiful makeover and sent me downstairs. Hello, Aria Wu, I'm Ford Jen. I like you. Will you be my girlfriend? I shyly took the flowers. Well, it depends on your performance. He proved his sincerity through his actions. Ford Jen is tall and good-looking. Our height difference makes us look great together. He's a bit shy and blushes easily when teased, but he treats me very well. He usually gets water and food for me, saves seats in the library, sends red envelopes and small gifts on holidays, and always checks in on me. He really does everything perfectly. If only he didn't bring his childhood friend Leah Xiao along every time we went on a date. The first time I met Leah Xiao was shortly after we had just confirmed our relationship. He said he had a childhood friend, who was like a little sister to him, studying at the school next door, and told me not to be too nervous. With a bit of nervousness, I went to the restaurant across from the school. Through the glass, I saw Ford Jen sitting with a girl. She had her arm hooked around his and was leaning on his shoulder. The two were chatting intimately, and Ford Jen even reached out to stroke her head. The girl giggled, and their heads were so close they were almost touching. Anyone who saw this scene would definitely think they were a loving couple. I was young at the time, and as soon as I voiced my doubts, he swore to the heavens that he had no other intentions toward me, saying that he and Leah Xiao were just like siblings. They grew up together and had plenty of opportunities to be together. If they were going to be close, it wouldn't have waited until now. He even called his mother right in front of me, and she explained the relationship between the two families, repeatedly assuring me that there was nothing between them and telling me to rest easy. That finally put my doubts to rest. Our first meeting, in fact, wasn't very pleasant. Leah Xiao, with her short hair, looked as capable as a tomboy. But she still had delicate and pretty features. In front of Ford Jen, she was somewhat domineering and even a bit spoiled, a trait clearly born from being indulged by someone. From the moment I entered, Ford Jen quickly tried to pull her hand away, but she stubbornly insisted on keeping it as it was. Her eyes scanned me up and down. So, this is the kind of girl Ford Jen likes. What kind of girl? One who's different from her, long hair down to her waist. A sweet and innocent personality with a lovely appearance. Leah Xiao and I are indeed two completely different types. Even though I felt uneasy, I truly loved him back then. Being love-struck, I convinced myself that there was nothing wrong between them and that I was just overthinking. Don't talk nonsense. My girlfriend would get shy. Ford Jen took my hand and pulled me to sit beside him. Oh, protecting her now. Ford Jen, I haven't even said anything yet. Are you afraid I'll bully your little white rabbit? Me. The meal was indeed not very enjoyable. She is my boyfriend's neighbor's younger sister, and I think as long as Ford Jen likes me, I can overlook her various behaviors. After all, I'm not the one dating her. But later, every time we had a date, 8 out of 10 times he would bring Leah Xiao along. Looking back now, I can't even remember how he managed to convince me back then. On my phone, it was a call from Ford Jen. I frowned and answered. Hello, Aria, isn't your cousin the head of the gynecology department at the 4th hospital? Can you ask her to see Leah, maybe get her an expedited appointment? My sister is a gynecology expert, and she's often away attending academic conferences and lectures, so even with an advance booking, it's not guaranteed you'll get an appointment. She has always been the one to take care of my health. At the entrance of the 4th hospital, Leah Xiao, with her large belly, held onto Ford Jen's arm as he helped her out of the car. The two exchanged a smile, looking every bit like a doting wife and a caring husband. The moment he saw me, the smile on his face instantly faded. Aria Wu, what are you doing standing here? Did you arrange it with your sister in advance? I did. Have you prepared the gift for my sister? He opened his phone. A set of the black bandage gift box had already been ordered and paid for. Heh, going all out for the baby in Lia Xiao's belly. A smile was on my face, but inside, resentment was slowly welling up. He usually gives me discounted items. When has he ever spent this much on me? I've been to Lia Xiao's house. Her vanity is filled with a lineup of international luxury brands, jewelry, designer bags, all of which were likely bought with our marital assets. 4 years of dating, 4 years of marriage. In these 8 years, what role did I play? Was I the catalyst for his and Lia Xiao's relationship, or just a shield on their path to love? None of this matters anymore. What I want is for them to pay the price. In the consultation room, my sister glanced at Lia Xiao. Ford, shouldn't your childhood friend's husband be the one accompanying her for her pregnancy checkup? Ford Jian was taken aback for a moment, but quickly regained his composure. Leah, is single. Oh, Ford Jian took my hand. As if to explain something, Arya and I have been married for so many years without being able to conceive, so we want to adopt my childhood friend's child. I smiled bitterly to myself, thinking that saying such a thing in front of my family shows exactly how much I mean to him. My sister and I exchanged a glance. Confusion in our eyes. Doesn't Arya already have a child? Why would she want to adopt someone else's? Ford Jian, a child? That can't be. How can it not be? Shouldn't you be happy that she has a child? What's with your attitude? My sister was clearly a bit upset. I quickly patted her on the shoulder. Ford hasn't quite adjusted yet. In private, I told my cousin to keep this secret for me, saying I wanted to surprise my husband. Ford Jian was scolded by my sister, and only then did he realize that as a husband, he really shouldn't have acted that way. No, sis. I just think it's strange that Arya hasn't had a child for so many years and suddenly got pregnant. Exactly, if she could have gotten pregnant earlier, why wait until now? The one saying this was Lia Xiao. I clenched my fists in anger. This woman loves to make sarcastic remarks the most. I used to think she was just spoiled by her family, but now I realize she does it on purpose. Some people just can't stand to see others doing well. They took my husband, made me a stepping stone for their love. And on top of that, had me working for them. Are you Lia Xiao? She nodded. You should go see a neurologist first. Lia Xiao, how can you say that? My sister slowly put down the pen in her hand. That's just how I talk. When Arya gets pregnant is her own business. What does it have to do with outsiders? Turning around, she faced the man beside her. Ford Jian, how do you act as a husband? Sis, it was all just a joke. Arya Wu, can't you talk some sense into your sister? Leah just speaks her mind. She doesn't mean any harm. I chuckled lightly. She speaks her mind, and is quick to brush it off, as if my child has nothing to do with him. Forget it, sis, let's start the checkup. Lia Xiao gave me a cold glare, as if I were the one to blame. Then, she took the form and left. Really not going to tell him? I nodded. My cousin said it's not easy for me to carry this child, and if anything really happens, the chance of getting pregnant again would be very slim. Although since my rebirth, I didn't want to give birth to the scumbag's child, but given my current situation, I have no other choice. After a whole morning of turmoil, Ford Jian ended up leaving me to take Lia Xiao home. In the evening, Ford Jian asked me very seriously if I was really pregnant. I was holding a cup to get some water. I looked at him with a smile in the corner of my eyes. Guess, I'm not a mind reader. How would I know if you're really pregnant or just trying to trick me? Haha. This scumbag, the baby in Lia Xiao's belly is his treasure, while the one in mine is just trash. When I told him I was pregnant, his first reaction wasn't surprise, but suspicion that I was lying to him. Why would I lie to you? Ford Jian stood up, took the cup from my hand, and drank the water in one gulp. You don't want to adopt Leah's child, that's your excuse. I felt like cursing inside. Honey, aren't you afraid I might poison you? Would you? Why is he so sure? It's because I've spoiled him, making him think we're each other's first love, from campus to the wedding dress, 8 years of relationship. How many 8 years does one have in a lifetime? But he and Lia Xiao have known each other since they were kids. By that measure, what we had really doesn't count. But, no matter what, he shouldn't have deceived me and tried to squeeze the last bit of value out of me. Tell me clearly, are you pregnant or not? He asked urgently, seeking confirmation. Of course I was. Just joking, I said, deliberately drawing out my words. Ford Jen's tense expression finally softened a bit. He came over and pulled me into his arms. Arya, you scared me to death. We don't have the means to raise a child right now. If you really want to get pregnant, let's talk about it in a few years. No means, as if he's implying we're living so poorly, and as if he's made such great contributions to this family. He probably forgot that I'm the one holding this family together. With his monthly salary of just a few thousand to 10,000, could he even afford to buy black, using my money to support his lover's child? How does he have the nerve? My family's financial situation is countless times better than his. My father runs a company, and my mother works in the pharmaceutical industry. I serve as the head of one of several companies. From dating to marriage, I have always prioritized my work. And at the company, I am a respected and capable woman. I earned all the properties we have at home, not only for ourselves, but I also paid for a 3-bedroom apartment for his parents, right in the city center. As for Ford Jen's family, they are just ordinary working-class people. After graduation, he was just a regular office clerk at a small company. At the time of our marriage, there was no bride price, no wedding house, nothing, and he even glorified it by saying that we were in a free love relationship and shouldn't be tainted by these negative social customs. When the in-laws eat and use things, and when they buy luxury goods for their childhood sweetheart, why isn't it called a bad social trend? Last year, my mother-in-law felt too lonely and insisted on bringing her old best friend to live with her. They managed to gather some money so that Aunt Liu and Lia Xiao could also buy a place in the same neighborhood as my mother-in-law. Now, the relationship between the two families has grown closer, judging by Lia Xiao's belly. Perhaps it was around that time that their feelings for each other rekindled, or perhaps their relationship never really ended. They were just hiding it from a love-struck fool like me. I loved him wholeheartedly and never cared about his family's circumstances. Maybe he, his family, and Lia Xiao took advantage of my naivety and gullibility. As Lia Xiao's belly grew day by day, I knew they hadn't given up on persuading me to accept her 2 children. Now, I can get a divorce, but how can I let that despicable pair off so easily? Not only will I let them have the child, but I'll also make them experience what it's like to live without money. Will their family still be able to love each other then? Over the weekend, my mother-in-law invited us to their place for dinner. Ford Jen packed a bunch of nutritional supplements early and got ready to head out. Those were all sent by my clients and friends. I haven't even had the chance to deliver them to my parents yet. As soon as I entered the door, the 2 regulars on the living room sofa had already arrived. Lia Xiao, being pregnant, had a bloated figure and kept talking non-stop. The acne on her face looked quite frightening. I wonder if Ford Jen could still bring himself to kiss her looking like that. Aunt Liu came forward to greet us. Arya is back. You're looking good lately, but still too thin. You should put on some weight. That would be better for having children. Aunt Liu, I'm on a diet. Ahem. Someone coughed. Aunt Liu then realized that Lia Xiao had heard something she wasn't happy with. Oh. I wasn't referring to you. It's natural to gain weight during pregnancy. After you give birth, you can let Arya take care of the child, and then you can focus on losing weight however you want. How amusing. Did I agree to be the one to take on the responsibility? Do they think that just because the elders from both families have discussed it, they don't need my consent? Aunt Liu, I'm busy with work and don't have time to raise a child. Aunt Liu looked at Ford Jen. I have plenty of time. I can watch them. My dear husband was afraid that Lia Xiao's mother would be upset. You have plenty of time. But you're my husband. If you watch Lia Xiao's child, aren't you afraid her child's father will cause trouble for you? You, Arya Wu, what nonsense are you talking? I think you're just deliberately picking a fight with me. Aren't you? Oh, it really is. How can you be so clever? Arya Wu, since you can't have children yourself, why don't you want my child? Lia Xiao said, munching on potato chips and questioning with righteous indignation. I'm really about to throw up. Whether I have children or not is my own business. Even if I don't, why should I raise your child? What are you saying? You're a hen that doesn't lay eggs, and you want to let the Ford family line die out. Who else would want someone like you besides him? Aunt Liu gently patted her. Leah, say less. Arya and Ford are in a relationship by choice. She can't bear to leave Ford. What's wrong with free love? How many dinks? Dual income, no kids, don't regret it when they get old, and you look down on my child. If you're so capable, have your own. Arya, Just say yes. Your dad and I, and Ford, are all looking forward to having a grandchild. Leah and our family know each other well, and the child will take care of you when they grow up. My in-laws stood in the living room, trying to brainwash me one after another. If I nodded my head, they'd probably set off fireworks to celebrate the very next second. In my previous life, I agreed quickly at first, but later, from prenatal checkups to postpartum care and looking after the child, I ended up handling everything alone. I suggested hiring a nanny, but my mother-in-law insisted that the child was young and needed to bond with me more, until I started experiencing abdominal pain and bleeding during that period. Just like that, the child was gone. It settled then. Aria. Once Leah gives birth, we'll take the child home. My husband made the decision, and it felt more like he was informing me. I pursed my lips lightly, turned around, and put on my shoes. Aria Wu, where are you going? It's too stuffy at home. I'm going out for a walk. Seeing that group of people made me feel suffocated. So I went downstairs, turned off my phone, and went straight to my parents' home. After being reborn, when I saw my parents again, my tears fell like broken strings of pearls. In my previous life, after I died, I didn't know how they were doing. They must have been heartbroken, having raised someone else's child only to see their own daughter meet a tragic end. The family fortune was naturally inherited by them. Ford Jian married Leah Xiao, and the two ungrateful wretches returned to their biological parents. The family of four was finally reunited, while they cursed me for separating the mother and her 3 children. They enjoyed the wealth I had built without a shred of guilt. Mom wiped the tears from my face. Aria, why are you crying? Did Ford bully you? I shook my head. I just missed you. Mom, can I come back and stay for a few more days? Usually, Ford Jen and I are inseparable, but now that I've come back to my parents' home alone, they naturally suspect something is up. Did you have a disagreement with Ford, or is it about the child? Children, after all these years of marriage. This topic almost always comes up. My parents are open-minded and have never pressured us about having children, but my in-laws can't help but tell everyone they meet that I haven't gotten pregnant in the 4 years since we got married. Even the breakfast stalls in the neighborhood knew that her daughter-in-law was infertile. If it were her own daughter, would she be willing to let her be talked about everywhere like this? Even if it were Leah Xiao, they would probably protect her, right? Father sighed. You're still young. Some people have children in their 40s, and you're only 28. Aria, don't put too much pressure on yourself. Actually, I wasn't very supportive of your marriage from the start. It's not that I look down on his family background, but they didn't contribute a single penny. Since ancient times, the groom's family has been expected to provide a betrothal gift, while we provided 2 apartments and a car as dowry, and they just moved right into the new home. Who wouldn't want such a bargain daughter-in-law? People often say that if a woman asks for nothing when getting married, she ends up being looked down upon, because it was cheap. On the contrary, those who ask for a bride price, a house, or a car, due to the sunk cost, would not treat their daughter-in-law too poorly even if they have to endure grievances. And what about me? I was so love-struck that I even let my parents suffer grievances along with me. If he treats you well, then it's fine. In any case, no matter what decision you make, your parents will support you. I thought that my parents would be very pleased to see that Ford Jen and I were deeply in love. I thought my marriage was happy and perfect. Unaware that my parents had long noticed everything in my life, I leaned into my mother's arms again, sobbing uncontrollably. In the afternoon, Ford Jen made a call to my father's phone. I had just picked up the call when I was met with a barrage of scolding. Aria Wu, have you grown some nerve? You sneaked away without a word. Do you not know today is family day? Do you even want this family anymore? All the elders are waiting for you. Do you have any manners? Why aren't you saying anything? Cat got your tongue. Let me ask you, is it really such a big deal to accept Leah's child? If you had a child of your own, we wouldn't be doing this, but you don't. Why can't you just accept it? And what's more, you actually gave Aunt Liu and my parents the cold shoulder. Is this how the Wu family raises their daughter? Do you even have any respect for my family or me? Crackling sounds. Anyone who didn't know might think I've committed murder or arson. Ford Jen, do you even hear the nonsense you're spouting? Forcing me to raise someone else's child. If you're unhappy that I can't have children, just find someone who can. I'm not stopping you. Why be so overbearing and insist on forcing me to accept this? If I don't accept it, he won't let me have peace. Why should I let him control me? He was about to roar on the other end, but I directly pressed the end call button. One more unnecessary word with him, and I'd be so angry I'd have a heart attack. I know, the Jen family must be in an uproar right now. The three elders, plus Ford Jen and Leah Xiao, are probably cursing my ancestors for 18 generations. The two families joined forces trying to make me compromise, perhaps not expecting my reaction to be so intense, beyond their imagination. Before, I used to be completely obedient to my husband, Ford Jen. A few sweet words from him and I would nod in agreement. I have no children of my own, so accepting Leah Xiao's child seemed only natural. As smooth as water flowing into a channel, they covered up the affair between Leah Xiao and him. Smoothly took over my family's property, and even gained a pair of lovely children, a loving mother and a filial son, enjoying the blessings of a harmonious family, with wealth and leisure, and both a son and a daughter. Such a beautiful thing was ruined simply because I disagreed. It's like being a troublemaker who just doesn't understand human feelings. I suppose now, that whole room of people is about to start a new round of planning. I feel at ease staying at my parents' home, enjoying their care every day and keeping all troubles at bay. Ford Jen didn't take the initiative to contact me either. However, I received an invitation from an old friend. Sitting across the table was Ningyi, an alumnus from our university days. He and Ford Jen are roommates, and sometimes they hang out with us too. Later, for some unknown reason, we rarely saw him. It was only on our wedding day that we received a blessing from him. May all your wishes come true. By the way, there was also a big red envelope, a 5-figure amount. I was still thinking, he and Ford Jen weren't that close, so why such extravagance? When I saw him again, I never expected that he would be the one to take the initiative to ask me out. Did you see it? I asked directly. At one of the most famous postpartum care centers in the city. So that's what the fuss is all about. I thought you were very happy. Just 2 weeks ago, I thought I was very happy too. People are like this. When everything is going smoothly, they are very good at deceiving themselves. Yet they forget that people's hearts are prone to change. Is your wife in confinement after childbirth? He chuckled, nearly choking on the coffee in his mouth. That's my sister. I'm not married yet. Why aren't you married? I suddenly blurted out. He frowned and tapped the table. Classmate Arya Wu, why didn't you go to Tsinghua University? I don't like it. Funny, neither do I. Suddenly, we looked at each other and laughed. The gloom in my heart was dispelled a little by that laugh. Learning that Ford Jen and the others were choosing a postpartum care center, I felt no emotional stir. I suppose they've made their choice and are just waiting for me to foot the bill. I remained composed, continuing to eat and sleep well every day. For several days in a row, I didn't give him a single call. Finally, my mother-in-law couldn't hold back and called my mom. She tried to sound out my attitude indirectly, but my mom played dumb and claimed she didn't know. She said she couldn't figure out what was on my mind, that I was very busy every day and came home late, so we never crossed paths. Dear-in-law, we know Arya has a bad temper. Ford has been spoiling her all these years. Can't she just take a step back? We haven't looked down on her all these years without a child, so why can't she understand the pains we elders have taken? Look down on? What right do you have to look down on our Arya? Maybe it's your Ford Jen's problem. Why don't you mention that? This can't be. Our Ford has already what? My mother-in-law was choked up. My mother has been holding in her anger for so many years. Before, she saw that my heart was set on Ford Jen. But now that I've come to my senses, she can finally let it all out. But Arya Wu doesn't respect us elders, and we're not even allowed to say anything about it. Ford's mom. Arya and he have been married for so many years, buying one house after another. Was it your son's doing? This, how can you say that? This is called marital property, and of course our Ford has also contributed. Then it can't be that you're always right. There are plenty of people in society without children. You could choose someone who can have children. There's no way to talk about this anymore. The conversation can't go on. The mother-in-law quickly hung up the phone. People need face. Trees need bark, but there are just so many people who don't know how to write the word face. On one hand, they look down on me for not being able to have children, yet on the other hand, they can't bear to let go of my money. They want it all, but I'll make sure they end up with nothing. As expected, That damn strategy didn't work. Ford Jen came to me on his own. First, he called me and said he would forgive me if I apologized to his parents, Aunt Liu and Lia Xiao. I was so angry I laughed at the time. Ford Jen still thinks I'm that silly girl who revolves around him and is the first to lower her head whenever we have a conflict. The Arya Wu from the previous life was already killed by him. The current Arya Wu is of the Nyohuru clan. Ford Jen, are you out of your mind? Why should I apologize? Your whole family pressured me to raise someone else's child, and when I refused, you gave me the cold shoulder. I already told you, if you're unhappy that I can't have children, we can just get a divorce. Who's stopping you? In my past life, I must have taken some stupid pills to have given my heart to him so completely. That scumbag didn't pay a single cent for the betrothal gifts or the house. Just got himself a cheap wife like me for free, bringing my own assets and then having his whole family emotionally blackmail me into raising someone else's child. I spoiled him so much he lost all sense of direction. He used my infertility to brainwash me into feeling inferior, making me willingly let him control me completely. What did you say, Arya Wu? I'm giving you a chance. Don't push your luck. As long as you apologize, we can put this matter behind us. Crazy. I hung up the phone. Peace and quiet at last. 2 more days passed, and seeing that I wasn't joking, Ford Jen couldn't sit still any longer. When it was time to get off work, he came to my office on his own, holding a bouquet of Freud roses. All the way, he greeted the young ladies in the office, who were covering their mouths in surprise. Wow, President Wu, you're so lucky. Even after all these years of marriage, your husband is still so romantic. Ford Jen walked over to my desk. Arya, I'm here to pick you up after work. It was as if the previous unpleasantness had never happened. I took the bouquet of flowers. They were quite beautiful, but next to him, they suddenly seemed a lot less impressive. Arya, I've reserved a table at the restaurant. Your favorite one. All along the way, he had been secretly observing my expression. From dating to marriage over all these years, he has been very good at reading people's moods, which is one of the reasons why he can easily handle my emotions and make me devoted to him. Did you come to me because you have something to talk about? Nothing much. After that unpleasant incident at my parents' house, are you still angry with me? No, it's all in the past. I know you want children. All these years, I've neglected your feelings. He visibly relaxed and placed his hand over mine. Arya, I knew you'd be understanding, after all these years together. How could I not know what kind of person you are? Of course he knew. I was a lovesick fool, completely under his spell. After dinner, he surprisingly suggested taking a walk with me by the river. Come to think of it, it's been years since we last took a stroll together like this. A few scattered stars dotted the sky. And as I thought about how my sincere feelings had been misplaced all these years, it suddenly felt like those years were so worthless. Arya, Lia Xiao is about to give birth soon. We've chosen a postpartum care center, and staying for 2 months only costs 200,000. What do you think? Staying in a postpartum care center for 2 whole months? That's quite extravagant. I wonder who gave them the courage and confidence to do so. 200,000 isn't that much. What's the issue? He swallowed hard and hesitated for a moment. It's not that much. But you know their family situation. They don't have the money for a postpartum care center, so my mom suggested we cover the cost for now. Sure, just write an IOU first. He didn't expect me to agree so readily, and it took him only a second to catch on. His expression changed instantly. What did you say? What IOU? Of course you need to write an IOU when borrowing money. Did you think I'd just hand it over for free? No, I mean, my mom said we'll cover the cost first, and she'll pay us back when she has the money. I sneered. Scammers know how to appeal to your interests and make you think there's a bargain to be had. Ford Jen, is just talking big without putting in any effort. She has to take care of 2 children all by herself. When will she ever earn 200,000 yuan to pay me back? If she doesn't have the means, why go to a postpartum care center? Ford Jen looked at me as if I were a monster. You. He stammered for a long time without getting a word out. Arya Wu, are you still the Arya Wu I know? How can you be so cold-hearted? She's a single mother. It's not easy for her. I laughed. Just because she has it hard, I should foot the bill. There are so many people struggling in this world. How could I possibly pity them all? Want my money? So brazenly, it's almost like coming to snatch it. Last time at their house, Lia Xiao called me a hen that doesn't lay eggs, and the whole family listened. But did anyone say a word for me? Ford Jen slowed his tone. You know I only have that little money every month. Can't it be considered as borrowing from you? Sure. Let's get the IOU written first. Regarding the matter of borrowing money, I didn't outright refuse, nor did I object. You can't be too extreme in handling things. Otherwise, how can you enjoy the show? Ford Jen doesn't dare to boss me around like he used to. If he offends me, I won't be willing to part with a single penny, and the one who stands to lose is him. I will no longer obey him as I did in the past, always putting him first. He's not a fool, so naturally he can sense it. I don't know how he went back and discussed it with them. In any case, the IOU was issued, though reluctantly. Lia Xiao looked at me again with a gaze so sharp it could have cut through me. As if her eyes were knives. The atmosphere at the dining table was strange. My in-laws didn't bring up the topic of me adopting a child again, and Aunt Liu hadn't given me a single glance since I sat down. Only Ford Jen spoke coldly. There's just over a month left until Leah gives birth. I think we should move to our parents' house to make it easier to take care of her. This was said to me. I nodded and continued eating my food by myself. That's only right. After all, it's not easy for her to go through pregnancy alone. Everyone was dumbfounded, as if they couldn't quite believe these words had come out of my mouth. After all, the IOU I just signed is real. They used to think I was meek, that I would blurt out whatever was on my mind without caring whether I could handle it. Now that I've shown my claws, they don't dare say anything. People, they really are despicable. However, everyone's hearts were in their throats again. But you can move back by yourself. There's no need for me, right? Why, you should also contribute to taking care of Leah. Ford Jen frowned, as if scolding. I looked straight into his eyes. Ford, are you okay? It's not my child. Why should I contribute? You, Aria Wu, you're an ungrateful wretch. With a bang, Lia Xiao across the table lost her temper. She slammed the bowl in her hand forcefully onto the ground. You can't stand me, thinking I'm being taken care of by Ford. Aren't you just jealous? If you have what it takes, go have a baby yourself. What's the point of just talking big? I can get pregnant with twins in one go. While you can't even conceive one, you're just a barren hen. Asterisk crash. Asterisk the tableware in front of me was also swept to the floor. Who doesn't know how to throw a tantrum? These days, the more well-mannered you are, the more you get bullied. Lia Xiao, do you not brush your teeth every day? I can smell your bad breath from all the way over here. You bitch. She sat there, gasping for breath, as several people gathered around her. Someone poured her water, while another patted her chest to soothe her. What a lively scene. In my previous life, I never confronted her like this. Turns out, the feeling of clapping back is so satisfying. Ford Jen glared at me. Aria Wu, Leah is pregnant. How could you provoke her like that? Were you deaf when she was insulting me? You might as well be her husband. I stood up and took out the IOU from my pocket. Since you don't want the money anyway, let's just forget about it. After saying that, I tore up the IOU, slung my bag over my shoulder, and walked out the door. Isn't Lia Xiao supposed to be tough? She stole my husband and still expects me to pay for her postpartum care. Two bloodsuckers, choosing the luxury package at the city's best postpartum care center. If they want my money, they should at least learn to behave. Cursing and showing no manners at all. With that kind of attitude, she still expects me to be the fool. I don't know if she's the stupid one or I am. I've been foolish in my past life. And I won't be again. Someone was chasing after me from behind, and just as they were about to catch up, I quickly slipped into a taxi by the roadside. Driver, let's go. Aria Wu, money, my ass, you're so obsessed with money. Why don't you go make some yourself? The whole family bullies your wife. And you even want to use her money to support your mistress and child. You're the king of scumbags. Not long after, I personally heard another outrageous secret. That day, I came home from work, opened the door, and saw two huge suitcases. I thought Ford Jen was about to move in, but then I heard voices coming from my master bedroom. Don't cry, it's all my fault. If I could earn more, we wouldn't have to put up with her attitude. It was Ford Jen's voice. How can this be your fault? She can't have children herself and doesn't want mine. Who does she think she is? I told you a long time ago to transfer all her assets to your name. How far have you gotten with that? Lia Xiao was giving orders arrogantly. My heart sank as I turned on the voice recorder and pricked up my ears. Haven't I been trying all along, Leah? You know how shrewd Aria Wu and her family are in business. I suggested selling her premarital house to buy a bigger one, but her parents disagreed. You still have the nerve to say that. It's all because you're useless. What do her parents matter? Doesn't she listen to everything you say? I've endured it all these years. Giving up the one I love most to her, while I myself, I've become a character that can't see the light of day, unable to have a normal relationship with you. Why, what does she have that's better than me, aside from having a bit of money? Yes, you're right about everything. I know I've wronged you, but back then, if you hadn't said she came from a good family and was naive and easy to fool, would I have pursued her? Don't worry, for you and the child. I won't let you stay in this nameless, unrecognized state. Once I get my hands on the assets, I'll file for divorce. I took a step back and covered my mouth. This pair of despicable lovers, I thought they got together because I couldn't have children. But I never expected that their pursuit of me was all part of their scheme from the very beginning. In this three-person dynamic, I was just an NPC. Haha, the hatred in my heart surges. If it weren't for the need for revenge, I would rush in and kill them right now. I told you to pursue her, but I didn't say you had to actually fall for her, and you even married her. Tell me, aren't you just reluctant to let her go? I swear I didn't. It's her who loves me desperately. Leah, you know very well that with my salary over these years, how could I afford to buy such a prime location apartment for you and your mom, and your daily expenses? Could they have been sustained without her money? Enough. These are all excuses. She hasn't gotten pregnant all these years. Has she not realized we tampered with things? I was thunderstruck. No, she was busy with her career in the first 2 years after we got married. Later, she got used to drinking the milk I spiked with birth control pills. Birth control pills. In the milk, I was thunderstruck, frozen on the spot. It turned out that the details I thought were signs of affection, like the glass of milk before bed every night, had been spiked by him all along. He never wanted me to have his child. I got pregnant only because, on one occasion, I spilled my milk, and Ford Jen didn't know. I stroked my lower abdomen and left that suffocating home, walking on the street, watching the bustling crowd. I suddenly didn't know where to go, recalling the events of my past life, everything in my mind connected. And suddenly it all became clear. They drugged me to make me infertile, then shifted the blame onto me, manipulating me into accepting Leah Xiao's child. Work hard to earn money to support their family. As for my child who was lost due to a miscarriage, I suppose they found out about it too. Ford Jen already has both a son and a daughter. Why would he want a child from someone like me? Just a tool. So, with the child gone, I have even less hope and can only obediently work hard for his family. My nearly 10-year relationship with Ford Jen has been built entirely on lies and deception. I want to take revenge on that scumbag and that despicable woman, but I also feel deeply sorrowful for myself. If I had been more clear-headed in my past life, if I hadn't relied on him so much or trusted his love so blindly, how could I have ended up being manipulated to the point of losing my life? Thinking back on all these years of treatment, my cousin, who is the head of the gynecology department, had reminded me to pay attention to my diet and whether certain things might be clashing. Having worked in obstetrics and gynecology for many years, she has seen countless cases and all sorts of dramatic, heartbreaking stories. Aria, you should never harbor intentions to harm others, but you must always guard against the harm others might do to you. How many times greater is your family's assets compared to theirs? Have you ever thought about that? How did I respond at the time? I said I trusted him. We were each other's first love. What could be more pure and precious than that? He was only 20 when we met, at that innocent age. What ill intentions could he possibly have? I am in a better position. While his family is not as well off, I am willing to spend money on him. But it's my own physical condition that's the issue. I can't shift the blame onto others. See how considerate I am, how much I think of him, and what happened. He just saw me as naive and rich, and ended up fooling me completely. Suddenly, a call came in. It was Ningi, across the table. He looked astonished. Why do you look so pale? When you were sitting by the flower bed, I thought you'd been robbed. A woman who looks utterly dejected, either heartbroken or deeply disappointed. If she'd been robbed, she'd be hysterical. I forced a bitter smile. Sorry to make you laugh, over the past decade, I have turned myself into a joke. Are the two of them ganging up to bully you? Another wave of bitterness washed over my heart. Ningi's hand, resting on the table, showed bulging veins. When he was pursuing you, he was already involved with that neighbor girl of his. It seems I was the only fool. Why didn't you say anything back then? Ningi sighed, as if unsure how to comfort me. At that time, even if someone had told me that Ford Jen was unreliable and had a questionable relationship with another girl, would I have believed it? I wasn't blind, and I had my own judgment, yet I still ended up in a mess. Do you know why I stopped associating with him later? Why, that photo of you in the library was taken by me, and he stole it and posted it on the confession wall. Because of this, they even got into a physical fight. I'm speechless. Today, I received too many truths, and I'm overwhelmed with shock. Ford Jen pursuing me was all a self-directed act by him and Lia Xiao from start to finish, deceiving my genuine feelings. Later, you two fell in love, and I could only watch from afar, but my blessings for your marriage were sincere. No wonder he couldn't wait to tell me when he saw them booking the maternity center that day. I really don't want you to keep being deceived. I don't want to keep being foolish either. Never again. Gently wiped the corner of my eye. Wait until the day you get married, and I'll give you a big red envelope, definitely more than his 5-figure amount. Ningi spoke out the long-hidden matter in his heart and instantly felt relieved. That won't be necessary. How do you plan to do it? Of course. They must pay the price. That night, I didn't go back. I was thinking about what I should do next. Ford Jen called the next day. Aria Wu, I have something to tell you. I've taken Leah to my place. From now on, we'll take care of her together. You don't have any objections, do you? Haha, acting first and reporting later. He's always been good at pulling this kind of stunt. Those 2 big suitcases actually belonged to Lia Xiao. He couldn't bear to let his first love suffer. How could I possibly have any objections? They've been putting on this act for so many years. They must be exhausted. Right, no, you should get ready and go to the Civil Affairs Bureau tomorrow. He was stunned for a moment. What are you going there for? Divorce? You, what do you mean, Aria Wu? I turned off the phone directly. I think he was probably completely baffled. Everything was fine. So why did I suddenly bring up divorce? Is it because they've been too rowdy lately that I'm annoyed? No. How could I bear to leave him when I love him so much? That same day, Ford Jen showed up at my parents' house with a fruit basket, which was clearly something someone had given his family that they couldn't finish. I used to think he was filial, always bringing big and small gifts to my home, but when I think about it, weren't they all gifts from clients to me? He was just doing a favor at no cost to himself. Mom, Dad, I'm here to pick up Aria. My parents went straight back to their bedroom without even giving him a glance. Ford Jen had never seen them act this way, and his expression instantly darkened. I've endured so many of these cold looks at his house, and he can't handle it after just one time. Aria Wu, were you drunk yesterday? What nonsense were you talking? Meet me at the Civil Affairs Bureau tomorrow. Don't keep me waiting. He exploded, throwing the fruit basket in his hand. Are you possessed? Why on earth do you want a divorce? I looked at his utterly hypocritical face. How had I never noticed before that every fake smile of his was laced with impatience? Facing someone who has feelings for him, he hasn't shown the slightest bit of emotion all these years. This kind of man is terrifyingly selfish. Anyone who ends up with him is in for a tough time. You're already taking care of your godsister's child's birth. Do you even remember who your wife is? You, Leah, she's a single mother and it's not easy for her. I've heard that excuse so many times it's worn out. Ford Jen, have I been giving you too much leeway, making you forget your place? You really want to be this unreasonable? If you don't show up at the Civil Affairs Bureau tomorrow, I'll take you to court. It's up to you. After saying that, I went back to my room. It wasn't until I heard the sound of the main door closing that I opened my room door. I know he went back. And his family is gathering again to come up with a plan. The next day, I didn't go to the Civil Affairs Bureau. Why, of course, I knew he wouldn't show up. Now, his family must be calculating how much property we have in our names, how much is in our stock and fund accounts, and the balance of our savings. I don't want to just sit and wait, so I sent a video over directly. Ford Jen, do you want to wait for me to sue you or get a quick divorce agreement? Otherwise, we'll see. He didn't expect that I had evidence in my hands. As for the content of the video, It was certainly explosive. Since my rebirth, I haven't been idle. I just installed devices in key locations, and the evidence I obtained from my own home can fully serve as courtroom evidence. It was a shameful story segment, and the protagonists were, of course, him and his first love. Sure enough, Ford Jen called me soon after. Aria, you've misunderstood. Leah and I had too much to drink that day. Shut up. Do you think I'm blind or stupid? Ford Jen, I have more than just this. Do you want people to know who the father of Leah Xiao's child is? You. He had nothing to say. Faced with this situation, he had to leave, whether he wanted to or not. The next day was the time we had agreed to register for divorce. During this period, I rejected any explanations or gestures of goodwill from the Jen family. His parents came to my home in a humble manner, attempting to persuade me to give up the divorce by resorting to emotional manipulation, crying, making a scene, and even threatening self-harm. Claiming that Ford Jen had only been momentarily confused when he got involved with Leah Xiao, they insisted that I was still the one he loved most in his heart. After all these years, how could I possibly let go? My parents immediately called the police. And it was only after the officers took them away for questioning that they finally calmed down. That night, on my way home, a car in front of me seemed to lose control and rush toward me. For a moment, the headlights blinded me, and I lost my sense of direction. When I woke up again, my parents were holding my hands. Aria, the baby is gone. My poor child, I had wanted so much to keep him. Perhaps he sensed that he wasn't welcomed by his father. Or perhaps it was because I had neglected my emotions and health during this time. My child chose to leave. My tears streamed down uncontrollably. Mom kept wiping my tears away. Aria, my dear, don't cry. You'll have your own child someday. Who is it? The perpetrator, Leah Xiao, was arrested. But what can you do to a pregnant woman with a big belly? She insisted it wasn't intentional, claiming she accidentally stepped on the accelerator due to feeling unwell, and my child, just like that, is gone. My cousin heard the news. Maybe it's for the best. How good could the genes of a scumbag be? It might not be a misfortune after all. But as a mother, having lost the child I had longed for years, it's impossible not to feel heartbroken. Ningyi, acting as my attorney, presented the divorce agreement to Ford Jen. Yes, he is a lawyer at a renowned law firm. I guess I got lucky, meeting an old classmate and roommate again, and in such a scenario, Vampage, it's you, after all these years. You still haven't given up on her, Ningyi sneered. Old classmate, have you thought about all the things you've done over the years? You've been deceiving her from the very beginning. You don't deserve to be the father of her child, so, you two have been involved with each other for a long time. We're not as shameless as you two. Regarding the divorce agreement, there are 4 properties, 2 of which were given as dowry by my parents, purchased before marriage. He basically can't take it. The 2 sets bought after marriage, plus the one from his parents, make a total of 3 sets considered as our marital property, 2 cars. The bank balance is only a few $100,000. The rest I've already used to buy insurance. Ford Jen was furious when he learned the news and said he would sue me for intentionally transferring marital assets. I suspect he must have grown up on stupid pills. I immediately presented evidence of his extramarital affair and his cohabitation with Leah Xiao in another city under the guise of being a married couple, not to mention that he drugged me to cause infertility, and Leah Xiao hit me, causing me to lose my child. If I were to pursue charges for intentional harm, neither of them would get away with it. I have both witnesses and evidence. If this goes to court, the charge of bigamy alone would land them at least a year or 2 in prison. It depends on whether he prefers to keep his assets or to work the sewing machine. Before signing, he asked to see me. Seeing the man in front of me again, he had long lost his former vigor and confidence. In the past, with my money supporting him, he walked with a confident stride. With his decent height and looks, he could catch the attention of girls wherever he went. Now, he looked pale and haggard, his hair as if unwashed for days, and his coat was wrinkled. This was so unlike him. Are you happy now? Which part are you referring to? The fact that you and Leah Xiao teamed up to chase me and scheme for my family's assets, or that I've worked like a slave for your family all these years, only for you to make me infertile? A pained expression appeared on his face, tinged with a hint of guilt. How strange. I didn't mean for it to be like this. Really, Ford Jen. When your parents looked down on me for not being able to have children, you married me despite having nothing. I gave my all to you and your family. Yet you and Lia Xiao played me for a fool, in the quiet of the night. Have you ever felt a pang of guilt? He covered his face. I'm sorry, I didn't know you were pregnant too. Crocodile tears are truly unnecessary, drugging my milk and causing me such immense physical and mental suffering all these years. Can it be forgiven with a simple sorry from him? Besides, it's not even certain that he genuinely regrets it. What he regrets is that his final scheme ended in failure. I won't ask if he ever loved me. Only a fool would ask such a stupid question. How can there be love when it was clearly deception, with such a pathetic kind of love? I can't help but feel a chill down my spine. Let him and Lia Xiao, that despicable couple, stay locked together and stop harming others. He signed the agreement to leave with nothing. A month later, on the very day Lia Xiao gave birth, we officially obtained our divorce certificate at the Civil Affairs Bureau. Then, Ningyi filed another lawsuit, demanding the return of all expenses he spent on his mistress, Lia Xiao, during his extramarital affair. He thought I couldn't find evidence and that divorce would be the end of it. How could this be? In my previous life, I even gave my life for him and supported his entire family for so many years. My youth, my efforts, my life, are they worthless? When Lia Xiao found out I was suing to reclaim everything she had, she fainted again, having just given birth, I have to say, with the help of the great lawyer Ningyi. Handling this divorce case has truly been twice the result with half the effort. Gathering evidence, obtaining bank statements, and finding witnesses for testimony, it all took a considerable amount of time. He put in more effort than the average lawyer who just does the job for money. It felt like he was fully dedicated to helping me. I was deeply moved, but that's all it was. Just a feeling of being moved. My mother-in-law's house was not taken back, and even if it were, I wouldn't want it. They used their life savings to gather the compensation money and gave it to me. Their neighbor, the apartment belonging to Lia Xiao's mother, was also privately funded by my ex-husband, Ford Jian. To repay me, they sold their house and moved directly into my in-laws' home, combining the two households into one. With the addition of the new twins, the three-bedroom apartment is bustling. To the extreme, it's as crowded as it can possibly be. Lia Xiao's international luxury brands, jewelry, and handbags. Whatever could be sold was sold, whatever could be discarded was discarded. In the 4 years we were married, she sold everything and still couldn't repay the money she had squandered. Within those 4 years of marriage, Ford Jian spent millions on her. Fortunately, there is no statute of limitations on prosecution. I can wait. If I ever feel upset, I'll apply for compulsory enforcement. If hers can't be enforced, then her husband's will be. For the rest of his life, Ford Jian will have to work for me. Right after we got divorced, they got their marriage certificate. After all, they had a child, so they had to give the child a complete family. They were a couple who had been deeply in love. 4 years and could finally be open about it in the light of day. I should send them my blessings. However, the new mother, just out of her postpartum confinement, looked haggard and had a bloated figure. Since she didn't rest well during her confinement, she was constantly arguing with Ford Jian at home. They said they got married, but they only registered their marriage and didn't even have a wedding banquet, let alone anything else. Lia Xiao suffered from postpartum depression. When I received my congratulatory text message, Ford Jian called me, and I immediately hung up. Are you crazy? Don't you understand sarcasm, in this lifetime? I never want to see those two again. Letting them die would be too easy for them. I want to see this loving couple without the support of money, how they continue to love each other, how they grow to resent one another, and in the end up as a miserable couple with nothing but regrets for the rest of their lives. Divorce, a pair of twins, 2 families merged into one, bound together since childhood. Such a deep relationship makes divorce far from easy. I am quite happy to see their family's impoverished yet joyful life. It must be full of harmony and happiness. Just when I thought our paths would never cross again, Ford Jian suddenly reached out to me. That day, he stood downstairs at my company. In the past, he would have eagerly come up to flaunt his affection in front of my employees. Now, seeing his timid and dejected expression, I can't even remember how I ever liked this person. Arya, do you have something to do? His eyes suddenly welled up with tears, as if he had been wronged in some way. My mood instantly soured. I have limited time. if you don't mind, I can call Lia Xiao to take you back." Upon hearing Lia Xiao, his expression changed immediately. "No, Arya, don't hit me. I'll just say a few words and leave. I'm sorry, I was a jerk before. I shouldn't have listened to her and used your feelings. I deeply regret it now." "Really, is it regret over not having money to enjoy a good life? Aren't you afraid of hurting Lia Xiao's feelings by saying that? I don't care what she thinks. She's just a selfish, self-serving bitch. I shouldn't have listened to her in the first place. This is all my retribution. I deserve it, I really do." He crouched on the ground, holding his head and crying bitterly. In front of the luxurious office building, such a scene was indeed an eyesore. I patted him on the shoulder. "Aren't you ashamed?" "I certainly am. Can't you act like a man? Weren't they supposed to be deeply in love? Why are they treating me like a trash can?" He rambled on and on about his married life with Lia Xiao. She became depressed. During the postpartum month, with both sets of elderly parents and her, there was no money, diapers, formula, and living expenses. Everything cost double for 2 children, and money was needed everywhere. Without money, not a single day was peaceful. The parents' pensions were not much, and they had to go to the hospital from time to time. Raising children not only costs money but also exhausts the adults. Lia Xiao scolded him for being useless, saying that as a man, he earned so little, whose husband makes hundreds of thousands or even millions a year. Why didn't he secretly stash away some money back when we were married? And those twins, crying and whining every day. Life has become a living hell. I used to think I was so happy, but now I realize it was all because of you, Arya. Why was I such a jerk, throwing away a good life and bringing trouble on myself? Alright, he's just got no one to talk to and is dumping his emotional baggage on me. I've had enough. I turned to leave, not wanting to see him for another minute. "Arya, don't go. Do you despise me? We were so good together before. You loved me so much. Can you really not forgive me? I can divorce her. I don't even want the child. Can we start over? Just the 2 of us?" I looked at him as if he were a fool. "Fu Jian, I find it disgusting." Ningyi was walking towards me. "What is he doing here? Does he still want to pester you?" Of course, I was once his biggest fool of a wife, utterly devoted to him, supporting his entire family and his mistress's family as well. Where in the world could you find a wife like me? The moment he fell back into hard times, he thought of me, his poor ex-wife. Maybe he'd shed a few tears, and my sympathy would overflow, leading me to transfer some money to him. After all, a man's single tear can act its way into breaking your heart. In my past life, that fool Arya Wu might have fallen for it. Love makes you easy to manipulate. It's better to be free from love and live without burdens. Arya, no one in this world would want you except me. Don't think he genuinely likes you. It's just his unwillingness to let go. Behind him, Fu Jian's voice could be heard. Ningyi gritted his teeth. "Wait for me. I'm going to beat him to death." "Don't, you're a legal professional. And he's desperate for money right now." He held back again and again. "Fu Jian, look at yourself. What do you have to compete with me? Do you own a house or a car? What makes you think Arya Wu would choose you, just because of your silver tongue? The breeze by the river feels soothing on the face. My heart, too, is calm and peaceful. I am very satisfied with my current life. There is no longer the anxiety of gain and loss from before, nor the unease of uncertainty that I couldn't grasp." Ningyi walked all the way, constantly questioning. "Haven't you made up your mind yet? Can't you give me a definite answer? I used to be love-struck and gave my heart to the wrong person. In this life, who can guarantee they won't meet the wrong person? I'm remarried and can't have children anymore. I'm single at an older age, and everyone says there's something wrong with me. So, do you have a problem or not?" He leaned close to my ear. "Why don't you give it a try? Get out." I remember after the accident, Lia Xiao came to see me alone. She said she had heard about me from a classmate. The classmate said I was good-looking, came from a well-off family, had several companies at home, and was a typical rich, beautiful only child. Fu Jian happened to attend the same school as me, but both of their families were from ordinary backgrounds. Even if they found a good job, they couldn't change their fate. So they encouraged Fu Jian to take a risk, bet it all for a chance to turn things around. Coincidentally, Ningyi has feelings for me, but he has always kept them to himself and never dared to confess. After Fu Jian found out, he took advantage of the moment when Ningyi wasn't paying attention and stole the photo he had taken of me. then smoothly succeeded in courting me, so, if it's about fate, clearly he liked me first, but someone with ulterior motives took advantage of the situation, causing us to miss each other. Arya Wu, we've already missed so many years. Why hesitate any longer? Because I'm afraid, if I trust in love again, I'll end up losing everything. Women are always vulnerable in relationships. I've tried, and it hurts too much. I can swear, if I break my promise, may I come to a bad end. I pulled his hand down. What nonsense are you talking? Pa, you care about me. He tightly held my hand in return. I just don't want innocent people to suffer. Arya Wu, don't be like this. I will help you let your guard down, even if it's just for yourself. Give it a try. Okay, I married Ningyi, yes. I agreed to give it a try with him. At first, I planned not to register our marriage, but later, I was moved by his sincerity. All his premarital assets, 3 apartments, 2 cars, and his savings, were transferred to my name, with a note stating they were voluntarily gifted. He told me, I've been waiting for this moment for years. Arya Wu, money can be earned, but a soulmate is something you can't just find by chance. These are things I never felt with my ex-husband, with Ford Jen. He only knew how to take, and I gave unconditionally until I was scarred and bruised, even to the point of losing my life. With Ningyi, he gives unconditionally, and I am the one who receives. If this doesn't prove his sincerity, wouldn't it be too pretentious of me? So, we got our marriage certificate, all my family and friends came to bless me, and within a year of marriage, I successfully became pregnant. My daughter with Ningyi is soft and adorable, with little dimples on her face. She is the apple of our eye. Ningyi often stares at her cute little face in a daze. I wonder which lucky boy will win her heart someday. I told him he was worrying too early. And he said all fathers raising daughters feel the same way. By the way, I also ran into my ex-husband Ford Jen and his family. Lia Xiao gained weight after giving birth, with stains on her dark dress, and never returned to her former self. The acne scars on her face were alarming. Holding one child in her arms and leading another by the hand, Ford Jen walked ahead while she grumbled behind, the epitome of a middle-aged woman burdened by family and children. Her scolding drew the attention of many people on the street. My ex-husband caught a glimpse of me unintentionally, then quickly lowered his head. Ningyi and I opened the Bentley door. He was holding our daughter in his arms and even brought the milk tea to my lips. This was in stark contrast to him only caring about himself and letting Lia Xiao take care of both children. What are you looking at? Don't think I don't know you're secretly watching your ex-wife. Someone like you isn't her type. She's into handsome guys with luxury cars. Ford Jen, you'll never amount to anything in this lifetime. I listened to Lia Xiao's scolding, but Ford Jen seemed not to hear it, his expression wooden, lost in thought. Perhaps he is quite satisfied with his current life, after all. He got what he asked for. I thought I would never have any involvement with my ex-husband's family for the rest of my life. Never expected that a few years later, a pair of twins, a boy and a girl, would show up at my door and immediately call me Mom. I was completely stunned. After the car was violently hit, the pain that shot through my body jolted me awake. These 2 ungrateful children had also been reborn. Mom, are you abandoning me and my sister? You're our mother. You can't just ignore us. Yes, Mom. How did you become someone else's mother? We want to live in a big house, ride in luxury cars, and have lavish meals. Mom, take us there. Looking at the 2 children before me, I felt nothing but chills. Memories from my past life flooded back into my mind like the tide. They were just like their parents. Selfish, cold, and heartless. No matter how much you give them, they take it for granted. The moment you don't go along with their wishes, they turn around and slander you, gang up on you as a family, and guilt-trip you. In my past life, I suffered many hidden losses because of these 2 ungrateful wolves. Outwardly, they called me Mom, but behind my back, they schemed with their biological parents, Ford Jen Lia Xiao, on how to take advantage of me. They had me completely figured out, knowing that I had no one else to rely on in my old age but them. Who are you? I don't know you. I tried to persuade them to leave. These 2 ungrateful children suddenly knelt on the ground, one on the left and one on the right, clinging to my legs, on the main road. This scene easily made people think I was an unfeeling mother or a child trafficker. Mom, please take us home. We want to go home with you. Don't leave us behind. Mom, the crowd comes and goes, with some people stopping to look in our direction, some very compassionate elderly women and mothers gathered around. What's going on? The child is crying so much. How can a mother be so heartless? Exactly. Young people these days shouldn't raise children like this. Look how adorable these two kids are. You should go home now. Once I get home, I can't shake it off. These two little brats are taking advantage of my good upbringing, knowing I'll just accept my losses and choose to keep the peace. In my past life, I was just like this. Even when I suffered immense grievances, I bore them alone, letting their whole family take advantage of me. Get up. Do you hear me? If we don't get up, you are our mother. You can't deny us. Helpless. I picked up my phone and dialed the emergency number. I didn't want to argue with these two ungrateful wolves. Having died at their hands in my previous life, the fear and helplessness in my heart made me unwilling to face them. The police took the two children away for questioning. Although they insisted that I was their mother, I showed them my ID. It was quickly determined that I had absolutely no connection to these twins. When Ningi came to pick me up, he was still in shock. What's going on? Where did these kids come from? 4 gens. It's been so many years since the divorce, and now these two kids are here to claim me as their mother. It's utterly unbelievable. I can't say that I and those two ungrateful people have been reborn. No one would believe such a thing if I said it. Only the three of us know in our hearts what they want. Even when facing these two children, I can't let it slip, and I certainly can't admit that I have been reborn too. Sure enough, after failing to extort me, they started causing trouble again. First, my father-in-law and Aunt Liu, who is Lia Xiao's mother, started live streaming online, claiming that I divorced 4 Gen and schemed to leave my ex-husband with nothing. This led to the disintegration of his family, with the 2 children not having enough to eat or wear. A once prosperous family was thus left with nothing due to scheming. I forgot to mention that my ex-mother-in-law was pushed down by the 2 children and suffered a stroke. She has been bedridden for years now. As for my ex-father-in-law, ever since the 2 families merged, he has been involved with Aunt Liu, Lia Xiao's mother. The twilight romance of the 2 elderly people is passionate and unrestrained, completely disregarding the paralyzed old woman lying in bed. They often flaunt their affection in front of her, infuriating the ex-mother-in-law, who is helpless despite her rage. As for the ex-husband and Lia Xiao, the 2 of them argue constantly every day, escalating from verbal abuse to physical violence. Both sides accuse each other of incompetence, with Lia Xiao scolding him for not even being able to hold on to a foolish woman like me, saying he deserves to be poor for life and unable to support his wife and children. After graduating, Lia Xiao didn't have a proper job and relied entirely on 4 Gen to support her. Later, after the divorce, she left with nothing and now has to raise 2 children. You can imagine how difficult life must be. 4 Gen, unable to bear the pressure, went to work in another city and sends some money back every month. Now, these 2 ungrateful children have been reborn, and they want to take revenge on me again. Sure enough, as soon as the live stream started, the 2 children faced the camera, crying pitifully. My sister and I go to the vegetable market with our grandparents every day to pick up the rotten vegetable leaves that others throw away. We can't afford to see a doctor when we're sick, and it's been so long since we've had any meat to eat. There are 7 of us living in this small house. My sister and I don't even have our own desks. We really wish we had a place to do our homework. Woo-woo, Auntie Woo, we know you're watching on the screen. Please, have pity on us and return what belongs to our father. As she spoke, she even brought her paralyzed former mother-in-law in front of the camera. The elderly woman's face was wrinkled and distorted, and she mumbled incoherently, unable to articulate clearly. Someone on the screen asked, "What about your parents? Don't they have jobs?" "Exactly. Why ask your ex-wife for money? Can't you support your children yourself? My dad works in another city, working from dawn to dusk, and he simply can't support our whole family. My mom is in poor health and is currently recovering, so our family is really struggling. My grandparents' pension isn't even enough to cover their monthly medication, and my brother and I have to scrimp and save every day." The little girl spoke with tears in her voice, and it was incredibly moving. Oh dear, how pitiful. A man having to support a family of 7, no one could bear that burden. The world will never lack people overflowing with sympathy. For the weak and the impoverished, people always instinctively empathize with their plight. Especially when the two children stood there and the paralyzed elderly person appeared, it has to be said, they know how to attract attention. Netizens quickly stepped in to donate, while also criticizing me as the heartless ex-wife. During the divorce, I took all the marital assets, leaving my ex-husband with nothing. How could he afford to raise the children, with no one else to vent to? They directed all their resentment at me. The promotion by the two children was very successful, and they received encouragement and praise from netizens. Troublemakers even dug up information about my company and Ningi's workplace, and then launched a collective attack. Both Ningi's and my work were affected, and our company's stock price and reputation also took a hit. As many people online sympathized with their family's tragic fate, just as many criticized us. Even our parents have been implicated. Honey, are we really not going to intervene? Should we go abroad to avoid this? Ningi couldn't sit still any longer. No, it's not the time yet. As if I didn't know this was all planned by those two ungrateful wretches, and Lia Xiao, both children, just like her, enjoy playing the strategist behind the scenes. Back when Ford Jen was pursuing me, it was Lia Xiao who encouraged him. Now, they're making money by manipulating online public opinion and venting their dissatisfaction at me. After all, netizens don't care about the truth. They just jump on the bandwagon when there's drama. As long as they're not the ones suffering, it's fine. When Lia Xiao called me, I knew the opportunity had come. Aria Wu, didn't expect this. Did you? After all these years, we still have a chance to turn the tables. I ask you now, do you dare to step outside? What do you want to say? Actually, I don't want much. Just transfer 5 million to my account, and I'll delete the video. What if I say no, FMPH? Then we'll see. Do you know how much damage my two children and my paralyzed mother-in-law can cause? The internet trolls will only side with us. They don't care that it was our affair that led to your divorce. In short, if you pay the money, this matter ends here. Otherwise, I will ruin your reputation. I don't understand. But I know how to record. I never intended to harm anyone. But if someone deliberately targets me, I won't be an easy target either. Along with the evidence from my divorce, the court's verdict, and the recording with Lia Xiao, I posted everything online. Now, public opinion has once again exploded. How many people used to criticize us, and now there's a rapid reversal. Wow, how dare they come asking for money? They cheated during the marriage, got pregnant, had a child, and caused intentional harm. Now they want to extort their ex-wife after 8 years of divorce. What kind of person is that? TSK, they really have the nerve. It's true that there are all kinds of people, even using children as a tool for extortion. The focus of public opinion has completely turned against them. The tips were demanded back, and even though Lia Xiao and the others deactivated their accounts, it couldn't stop the online abuse. What people despise the most are those who willingly become the other woman. Lia Xiao not only acted shamelessly but also shifted the blame, even inciting the children to cause trouble. The ex-husband and his family became public enemies that everyone condemns. Years later, those ungrateful wretches, having lost me, their cash cow, not only failed to strive for improvement but also ended up treading the same old path for the rest of their lives. The son indulged in all vices: drinking, eating, prostitution, gambling, and drug use, and accumulated debts everywhere. He ended up killing someone in a group brawl and will be locked up for many years. The daughter enjoys being a habitual homewrecker and was beaten up by the original spouse on the street, leaving her with a crippled leg. The last time I saw Ford Jen, he was hunched over, walking slowly along the old street as the sun set, looking quite desolate. The end.